They didn't erase $1 billion. They used taxpayer money to buy nearly worthless debt for pennies on the dollar, canceled it, and then bragged about the face value. Here's how the scam works. Arizona took federal COVID relief funds, your money, and gave it to a nonprofit called Undo Medical Debt. That nonprofit then went to hospitals and collection agencies and bought old medical debt portfolios at a tiny fraction of what was owned. Once they owned the debt, they wiped it out. The patients get a letter saying their debt is gone. Good for them. The hospitals and collectors get paid something for debt they were unlikely to fully collect. The politicians get to hold up a giant $1 billion erase sign and take credit. The actual cash that moved is a small fraction of the headline number. The $1 billion is the original face value of debt that was already sitting on the books as hard or impossible to collect. They didn't inject $1 billion, they bought distressed paper cheap and then celebrated the big number. And the underlying problem that creates medical debt in the first place is still sitting there waiting for the next round of bills. That's not bold leadership. That's political theater with a big prop and a small check. They call it historic. They put up a big sign. They smile for the cameras and act like they just saved working people. It's not even a Band-Aid on a hemorrhaging wound. While they celebrate buying old, nearly worthless hospital debt for pennies on the dollar with leftover COVID money, working-class Arizonans are still sitting at the kitchen table doing the same brutal math every month. Do I keep the health insurance or do I put food on the table? That choice is not an accident. It's the direct result of stagnant wages, bad contracts, and a system that treats labor like a disposable cost. The management companies run cheap labor turnover models built right into the contracts. Keep wages flat, keep benefits weak, burn people out, replace them. The union officers who were supposed to fight that arrangement too often protect the deal instead of the membership. And the politicians who write the checks and hold the contracts look the other way, then show up later with a press conference about medical debt as if that fixes the underlying problem. You don't erase the damage caused by years of stagnant pay and weak contracts by buying old bills that were already hard to collect. You don't help the people still stuck choosing between insurance and groceries by handing the same system a photo op. This is a slap in the face to every working person who actually has to live with the consequences of those contracts. The ones who show up every day, keep the buses moving, and still can't get ahead because the wages don't move and the costs keep rising. They took up to $30 million of our money, federal COVID relief funds that belong to the public, and handed it to a nonprofit. That nonprofit then turned around and paid its own executives, covered its overhead, funded its operations, and used the rest to buy old medical debt for pennies on the dollar so the governor could stand in front of a giant sign. This is not some pure act of charity. This is a government giveaway that routes public money through an organization that keeps a cut for itself, salaries, management, technology, fundraising, before any debt gets touched. The CEO of that nonprofit has taken home hundreds of thousands of dollars in compensation. The organization has real operating costs, and the state chose to feed that machine instead of handling the relief directly. They could have bought the debt themselves. They could have paid hospitals directly to write off balances. They could have forced stronger charity care. Instead, they cut a check to a nonprofit, let it take its cut, and then claim credit for the face value number, while working people are still choosing between health insurance and groceries because of stagnant wages and weak contracts. This is the same old pattern. Public money gets moved, insiders and organizations get paid, politicians get the photo op, and the underlying problem stays right where it was. They didn't fix the wound. They paid a middleman and called it historic. We see it. We name it, and we're not done.